Hello, welcome back to Baseball News and Views. Joined today by Chris. I am Mark. Chris, we have some fun props to talk about. It's going to be an award show. We're going to give our predictions here. MVP, Cy Young Rookie of the Year. But first off, we do have a fun prop we're looking at here. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I think one of the props that caught my eye when I was searching DraftKings for opening day and just always doing that search to see what we could see um, was the Yankees and Mets over under. It was both teams to win over 90 and a half games at plus 130. So I think that's kind of a layup, honestly. I don't know what you think.
That does sound like free money. I think we both expect that from both teams. I mean, I'm a little bit down on my Mets right now, but you still have to believe they're going to win 92 games.
Yeah, I mean, you hope they win 92 games. Even if that's a bet that even if you put in and they lose, if that bet doesn't hit, you're not even mad at it
You can
because you're
sleep
like,
with
you know
that,
what?
yeah.
At least I wasn't doing something stupid. That's a bet I would probably throw a few hundred on to make that money.
That's fair, and I think we're looking at probably mid-90 wins for both teams, probably 95-ish.
Yeah, I think 95 wins is definitely the sweet spot for both teams. I think if that bet doesn't hit, you're very surprised. If one of these teams doesn't win 90 games, you're very surprised. And that at plus money is pretty crazy to me. I think that's a layup. I think I'm going to segue into the other bet that we think is a layup, and I think that's Garrett Cole AL strikeouts at plus 550.
Yeah, we actually both put in a decent amount of money on that one. I kind of wish I put in more, honestly.
Yeah, so do I, especially after his 2 starts. He
how
looks
the
kind of
season
down
has I mean, we've been talking about it for years with this guy. He kind of gets continuously disrespected, which, I mean, you're a Yankee fan, I'm a Met fan, but he's like the only pitcher that goes to work every fifth day and
that you know is going to pitch every
exactly.
fifth day.
He's so durable.
There's nothing, no BS, no nothing. You know he's going to he's taking the right amount every fifth day.
And there's so much value in that. Not even on like a fantasy or betting perspective, but a real life perspective, of course. He goes there, he's 6 innings every game. He doesn't come out. He's 6 innings at least. Probably it's usually like 6 innings, 2 runs or so, 10 Ks. Like the guy's great. We both have that at plus 550. I love that so much. Second place for that was Corbin Burns. He's off to a very poor start, which we love. I mean, our only real threat. Dylan Cease is scary, and the real wild card threat is DeGrom. DeGrom is healthy. That's problematic.
But even if he is healthy, he's not gonna. They're gonna baby him.
He shouldn't be able to reach the innings.
So I think we're safe on that. I think those are 2 layup bets. I think those are 2 bets that
we knock on wood for Garrett Cole's health,
and we knock on wood, for the teams to win, or both our teams. But I think those are layups. I think.
There were definitely some more other fun ones here that we were looking at. I think the MVP ones were very interesting. American League, not so much. National League, I think it's wide open this year for
the National League is wide open MVP-wise, yes.
It's pretty cool. I actually didn't place an NL MVP vote, but a lot of wild cards. The favorite's Juan Soto, which I thought was kind of interesting, but when you think about it, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I think everyone's kind of expecting a big bounce-back season from Soto. It feels like it could be any of those Padres guys, really. It could be Machado. It could be. I don't think Tatis could do missing half a year.
No. But he can't do it.
Probably not. No. But I mean, Xander maybe an outside shot, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Xander did it.
And then you got Mookie and Freddie. You got the Mets guys that are kind of always in the mix. You have Trey Turner.
You got, of course, Yelly and Belly in the NL Central.
Probably not this year, but maybe. You never know. I mean, Goldschmidt won it last year. There's so many guys in the National League with a real shot, which I think it really spoke to that. When you look at the American League, it's going to be Ohtani probably if he doesn't get hurt.
I think the AL, it can only be 3 guys, maybe 4.
Who's the
I think
third?
it would be 4 guys. It's Judge, Trout, Ohtani, and Vlad.
Okay. Vlad, yeah.
I think there's 4 guys that it could be.
Yeah, I think that's kind of accurate. You're thinking about. I mean, Jose Ramirez has put up the seasons before.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't get the recognition.
No, he does not get the recognition, which is not fair. But,
I think. I mean, we don't look at J-Rod in that light. Julio's not going to win MVP.
No, not yet. Even J-Rod, I love J-Rod, but he's exciting, but his numbers aren't.
His good season is probably 280, 35 homers, which is that's great, but doesn't compare with these other guys. I mean, the Astros, Kyle Tucker and Yordan.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Yordan. Ohtani pitches, but Yordan doesn't play the field. So that hurts him. Tough for him.
He's played some left field, but
but not good. He's not a good left fielder, so it's definitely going to be tough.
I mean, just talent perspective. I mean, Devers is the talent, but he's going to be on a last place team.
Worst team in the league. It's. I think it's a 4. It's not even a 4-horse race. I think there's just 4 guys that have only the chance to win it.
I'm taking Ohtani in the American League. I mean, it's not a hot take. It's how I feel. I think, I mean, I think he should have won last year. I know it's unpopular again. Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs, was it? Was that the number?
Yeah, and he almost won the batting title, almost won the Triple
He was
Crown.
phenomenal. If there was ever a time where a show wasn't going to win it, it was last year. I do acknowledge that. But if I had to vote, I'm still thinking Ohtani. Ohtani pitched like an ace and hit like a 3-hitter.
Yeah, I'm just big with the team, though. I mean, if you're the most valuable player, like, the team stunk, man. Like, that team's still a bad team.
But we also did this debate where if you switched the two places, it wouldn't have changed anything. If Judge,
I don't know about that. I really don't know about that.
So
I don't know about that.
Lost their best
Aaron
pitcher.
Judge carried the Yankees last year. He carried
them. They had a really good pitching staff.
Yeah, but his offense, he was the only hitter at one point. He carried them.
The show is probably.
But Ohtani is not the hitter Judge is. He's not.
He's not. No,
that's what I mean. He's not.
But
they didn't need the pitching. I don't know. It's a debate. It really is a debate.
Very tough to say.
I don't think they're where they were if they didn't have Judge. If they had Ohtani instead of Judge, they needed the offense. I do not think they would.
But I mean, it's substantial. But you're talking about 60 home runs versus 40 home runs.
That's a lot, man.
It's a lot of home runs. I acknowledge that.
Clutch home runs. It was a lot of RBIs. He still hit 300. Crazy.
I have a hard time believing that. But also for team like the Angels don't do anything if Judge is there.
No, probably not.
So it's not really fair to dock show for that.
His team, Judge carried his team. He carried his team to an title.
This is a good conversation. I think the MVP award kind of varies every year in terms of the voters decide what matters, if winning matters or not, and we kind of always just have to wait.
I mean, the writers are idiots.
As
it is. But Judge, to win MVP 2 years in a row is impossible. So I think Ohtani's probably, if he stays healthy, is going to get it because they will not give it to someone 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
and Judge isn't going to match what he did last year, so it's really
probably not.
It's Ohtani,
and he's the hype guy. Everyone loves Shohei. He's going to his contract year.
Crazy.
The one little blunder here, which actually could lose a lot of people a lot of money, is if he gets traded to the National League.
Yeah, that
could really screw up a lot of people. I think Vegas knows that. Like, say the Mets could do it. The Mets could definitely blow up their farm system to the Angels. Pray he resigns. I could so see that happening, like a desperation move where
I think the Angels are too stubborn. I think they probably think they're going to get him back.
They'll sink with the ship?
I think they're going to sink with the ship. I think that organization's a mess.
If they're in a position in July where they're 10 back, they can't. They got to move them.
Well, what hurts them now is everybody makes the playoffs. So
that does hurt them
so
for sure.
You don't really... You always think you're in it.
But you can kind of decide for sure. Like there's the hopeful teams, and like you can make that stance where it's like, I guess me saying they're 10 back, they'll probably be like 4 back at the last playoff spot in that situation, which is like, oh, we could do it. But if you let him leave and you don't get anything for him, that's generationally.
Would you be shocked if the Angels?
No, not even a little bit. But
Angels are a pretty bad run organization.
I mean, he probably should have been traded this offseason, for being honest. But I mean, at the same time, he's I think the best player ever. So when you have the best player ever on your team, you kind of have to keep him and do whatever it takes to keep him around.
Yeah, I agree. I think if he stays healthy, he's the MVP. That's my pick.
All right, so we're both taking Ohtani. I mean, it was obvious. What are you going to do? We'll go to the National League now. We touched on all of these options. We didn't really go into anyone directly. I know you love the Padres. Maybe you're like a Manny Machado. Who do you like here for the National League MVP?
Man, this is a tough one. This is really a tough one. I do love the Padres. Manny had a great year last year. But I think I'm going to go with... I think Acuna is going to have a great year.
Okay.
I think Ron Acuna is going to bounce back, and I think he's going to win MVP this year. I think he's already looked really good in this past week, and I think he's finally healthy again, and I think we're going to see that talent that we haven't seen in 2 years now.
The funny thing is, while I was rattling off all those names, I didn't even think about the Braves. They have 3 guys. They have Olsen, Riley, and Acuna. I don't know about Olsen, but these guys are all legitimate guys who could probably win this award. Acuna's a great guess. For me, a little bit more boring. Not boring, like, odds-wise. Boring.
Don't tell me Paul Gold.
No, I'm going Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers. I
hope so. I drafted him first in fantasy, and I hated him.
I think he is just so stable and so locked in. Every year he's going to hit over 300, over 20 home runs, driving 100, score 100. And we talked about this Dodgers lineup, and they really need him to step up. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe he sells out a little bit more for power this year. He sees that he has to do a little bit more. These guys are gone around him. He has to be the one to step up a little bit more, and he can so do that. This guy is amazing. I love Freddie Freeman, and he's a great glove, too. He's going to bat 2 or 3 for this Dodgers team every day. I'm going to take Freddie Freeman. I like those odds.
Well, yeah, if you, in your last episode, you said you think they're going to win the West, and if they win the West, he probably wins MVP.
Yeah, him or Mookie probably.
Take an MVP-like performance from one of them towards the West. But I think for me, Acuna.
But there's 15 guys with a real shot in the National League.
Totally,
That's fun.
Totally.
That's really cool. I actually appreciate that a lot.
You have no idea who's going to win that one. That's a bet you could take because the odds are good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The odds aren't even worth it.
Every guy was like plus 1,000. Even Soto was the favorite at like plus 900 or plus 1,000, which is awesome.
Those are the bets to make.
But what was Otani's like plus 100? Otani's like,
what are you doing? It's not even worth it.
And like you look around, and the only scenarios here are injury or traded. You don't want to make a bet banking on someone getting injured or traded. It's just not a good idea.
No, it's just stupid. We hit on that Otani bet 2 years ago, and I will never bet an MVP again.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I mean, there's so much. We were even stressed out, if you remember, because like we were just kind of like reassuring ourselves. There's no way they would give it to Vlad. There's no way, but like Vlad would hit 325 that year with 48 home run. Like it was like Vlad was amazing. Sucks for Vlad. Any other year he would have won that award.
I mean, MVP and Cy Young. We always say it. It's just it's luck, honestly. It's a lot of luck.
It's based off what everyone else is doing, not so much what you're doing.
A lot of bumps of one. Not really MVP, but a lot of bumps of Cy Young.
It's true. Looking at Cy Young now, I want to do a little deep dive here. A little bit more of a open award, I would say. American League, we talked about Cole extensively already. Other guys, you got like Shane McClanahan, you got like Framber, you got Dylan Cease. There's some guys for sure in the American League. I mean, Shane Bieber's still around. I know we kind of have some not great feelings about Shane Bieber, but he's still a solid arm in the league for sure. Is there like a lean here for you? Are you sticking with Garrett Cole? How do you feel here?
I'm going to be biased. I think it's going to be Cole this year. I think this is his year. I think just in the first two starts, you could tell like last year he had a lot of home runs. Besides that, he pitched really well. I think this year he's kind of going to limit the home runs. I think he's going to dominate.
I was surprised to see the other day that Cole has not won one yet. Which, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it because Verlander.
Yeah, we're talking about the luck where some guys luck into getting one. He's lucked out of getting one.
He's had like three phenomenal seasons.
His great years, other guys were just insane. Like it's pretty crazy to think. But I think, it's an interesting take on Cole too. I was reading the pitch clock helps him because he gets crazy in his own head, and with the pitch clock, he's just back.
He has less time to think.
Next pitch.
For sure,
and he's looked dominant.
We were talking about that. That's not one of those things with the new rules that some players are going to thrive, some players are going to struggle in the early going. But even like Max Scherzer was saying it too, he likes the pace. He likes getting the ball, throwing the ball. Like these guys, like they want to work quickly. It makes the hitters uncomfortable. I think what you're saying is right. It works pretty well in that regard. Cole is a great guess. I think I like that too. Like we said previously, we have the money on Cole to win the strikeouts, which would kind of coincide to a degree. Not definitely, but would probably help if he led the league in strikeouts. I think Shane McClanahan has a lot of injury concern. I don't really want to go down that road.
You don't like the Rays because of innings, too.
I like Framber Valdez.
Mm-hmm, he's nasty.
I feel like he's really, really solid. I think he's durable. I think he's a guy that can go out there and pitch. I'm actually having a hard time here. I'm kind of sitting here thinking it through on the fly here. We like Luis Castillo, too. Luis Castillo might be a guy.
I could see it.
That might be a guy. It might be his year if he wins like 18 games with like a 3 ERA.
And if they're really good, I could totally see that.
If they're really good. I think Luis Castillo will have a lower ERA than Cole. I feel good about that, but I think Cole will have 50 more innings probably. So I'll say Luis Castillo just to be different, but it's pretty open. I think for sure there's like 5 or 6 players that have a legitimate shot based on their health.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Dylan Cease too. Guys like that, like he's filthy.
I'm so with Dylan Cease because he walks so many guys.
He does walk a lot of guys, but it's innings. It's innings, I think that's why I'm going with Cole too because he's consistent.
Okay, and going to the National League now. I mean, it's funny we keep saying there's so many guys, but we're talking about the awards. We're talking about the Cy Youngs, the MVPs. The National League Cy Young race. I mean, I think you start with the 2 Mets pitchers, who one's already hurt and one looks terrible. So where do you go from here? They were the 2 favorites coming in. Sandy Alcantara, the reigning champion right now of the award.
He looks really good.
He looks awesome again. You got Wheeler and Nola. Just in the National League East I'm talking about. I just named 6 guys who are contending for the National League East. I mean, you go around. I mean, Kershaw's always in the conversation. Urias is in the conversation. You got Max Fried, Strider, again with the East. Where do you look here as a place where you really like?
Taking Julio Urias. I like Urias.
Okay.
I think that's not a pick you expected me to say.
No.
But I don't know why. To me, he's safe. I think he knows that the Dodgers need him. They need pitching. They need him to be. They need him to win Cy Young. Not going to say they need him to win Cy Young this year, but they kind of need him to win Cy Young this year if they're going to beat the Dodgers. I think they need a season like that. And I think he's like you think Freddie's going to give it to him. I think he's going to give it to him. I think I think he's the safest too. I mean, Sandy. I don't know if Sandy's gonna have the year he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
Max Fried, I don't love.
I thought Sandy was going to struggle, truthfully, because of the shift rules. Because he gets a lot of ground balls.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's 2 starts. But so far, he looks awesome this year. Doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem for him. But it could blow up. Next game, he could have 7 infield hits. You never know. It's kind of weird for me because 2 weeks ago, I would have said Verlander. Mm-hmm. But he's hurt. He started the season off hurt. So it's kind of like unfair for me to change my pick, I feel like. But realistically, if he misses a month of the season here,
you don't know when he's coming
probably
back.
Not going to win the award.
Not going to win Cy Young. And then Strider's, I don't really trust his arm.
And the innings there with Strider is probably going to be the issue there, which I don't really foresee.
Corbin Burns doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah, he's having a hard time already. I mean, Woodruff's very good, but you don't really see Woodruff as a Cy Young winner exactly. I'm going to say Sandy. It's boring, but I think
it's tough to win back-to-back. It is
tough to win back-to-back.
I was thinking Sandy too, but
I mean, let me just say, we're in the second start of the season. He just threw a 110 pitch complete game shutout. This guy is just his arm's made of rubber. This guy just pitches. He is really, really good. And like the interesting part about Sandy is he doesn't really get too many strikeouts, whereas K per nine is probably like 8. Most guys were talking about like 11 in this Cy Young conversation, but because he doesn't get so many strikeouts, he throws more pitches. So it's kind of a really good trade-off. I think the Marlins are probably like a 500-ish team this year, and I think Sandy puts up another like 240 innings pitched Cy Young winner.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. It's tough to win it twice in a row.
We'll wrap up here finally with the Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year is a very kind of polarizing award. We'll start with the American League. I think the clear-ish favorite right now is probably Gunnar Henderson. I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, I think Gunnar Henderson. I think he probably is because he's the highest. He's the highest prospect in baseball. Like he's number 1. But I'm gonna go on a limb right here, and I'm gonna say Yoshida wins it.
Okay.
I like Yoshida.
You like
I like Yoshida a lot. I like his swing. Yeah, probably set myself up for Old Takes Exposed. He might hit 200, but yeah, I think he's gonna win Rookie of the Year.
I mean, he had a great WBC, which brought a lot of attention to him. Kind of hopefully reaffirmed here with Chaim Bloom. He got a lot of hate for that pick, for that $100 million contract.
I mean, listen, Chaim Bloom needs one, man. That guy's taken a lot of L's. He's done a lot of dumb things. So I think he needs one here. And I think he gets one. I think Yoshida's a pretty good player.
So I just pulled up the odds here. Right now, Gunnar is the favorite. He's actually tied with Yoshida in terms of their odds. Right behind them is Volpe. And then you have Grayson Rodriguez, Tristan Casas, Josh Young, and Logan O'Hoppe.
I like Logan O'Hoppe a lot.
Yeah, he's got the Angels job. He's a catcher, which definitely helps him out in terms of the bettor's eyes, or the voter's eyes, I should say. I can tell you what, with Gunnar, I'm not that impressed from what I've seen from Gunnar Henderson. I know it's a small sample, of course, and I don't know, I just watch him. I think he has a big hole in his swing. I think he has a big, long swing. Maybe it works out for him, but he's not a guy that I
kind of see that, too. That's why I'm not really going crazy with him. I think that's why I'm picking a guy like Yoshida.
I like Yoshida. I'm actually going to stay on the same team. I'm going to go with Tristan Casas.
Okay.
I think he's a guy that he already has really great discipline. He has a really good walk to strikeout ratio. I think he's probably got 25 home runs in that bat right now, maybe more. I like him, and he has some decent odds here. He's plus 1,600. The other two are plus 400. So that's some good value in that.
That is some good value. I would probably sprinkle that.
Yeah.
Yoshida I like, too, because he's older. And, it's kind of stupid how the MLB still does that.
Yeah, he's probably 30 years old, right?
It's like a Rookie of the Year. Like, he's a pro, you know? The guy's been a pro forever. So I think I like that. I like that pick. But I would probably put the money on Casas just because the odds.
It's worth the spring. It's worth $10.
Yeah, if you're betting strictly on odds, I'm taking that.
National League, a little bit more cut and dry, I think. You have 2 guys at the top in Corbin Carroll and Jordan Walker. After that, you have Kodai Senga, you have Miguel Vargas, you have James Outman, Garrett Mitchell, and it's kind of it. There's some dark horses toward the end we can talk about in a second. But are you going Corbin Carroll here?
Corbin Carroll's probably one of my favorite players in the MLB, and I'm definitely going to go with him. Mm-hmm. Jordan Walker's got that crazy upside, but Corbin Carroll's such a good baseball player, man. Mm-hmm. He's like Ichiro pretty much. The way he plays is so similar. I think he's going to hit for a great average. He's going to steal around maybe 60 bases, honestly.
60?
I think he can steal 60 bases. I really do. I think he could steal 60 bases.
Okay.
And I think, I don't know, it's just safe, man. Jordan Walker, I could see Jordan Walker having a monster year. I could see him having a bad year where it's all right, he needs some AAA seasoning.
That's a good point. And I think, kind of piggybacking what you said, I think long term, I would take Walker if I was starting a team per se, just because I think Jordan Walker does have a higher ceiling. But right now, Corbin Carroll probably is a little bit more polished and like complete of a player.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing you were saying there, where Jordan Walker, I don't think will happen, but he can be in AAA. He's a guy that I can see like he struggles a little bit. They have so many guys on that Cardinals team: Dylan Carlson, they have Juan Yepez, they have Alec Burleson, they have all these guys. Tyler O'Neill's like starting fights now with the manager. But
yeah, see that? That's kind of a mess.
It's kind of a mess. But I'm a sucker for upside, and I think Jordan Walker could potentially be like a 30-homer guy and steal 10, 15 bases, where I think the power is the question with Corbin Carroll, where if Jordan Walker hits 30 home runs, I think he'll probably win this award. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Corbin can match that in terms of his value versus 30 home runs.
Yeah, and also another advantage, I don't think Corbin can do that power-wise either, but another advantage that I would lean towards Corbin Carroll if I was throwing big money on it is he's playing on a team that's not contending, and Jordan Walker's playing on a team that is contending.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to have any time for growing pains. Like if he's struggling for a little bit, it's probably he's going to lose some at bats.
It's true, definitely. And Corbin Carroll got the contract already.
Corbin Carroll's playing for the Diamondbacks every single
He's their
day,
guy, mm-hmm.
no matter what.
But you'd like to see him move up in the lineup, give him that leadoff spot.
It's nothing worse than
like 5th or 7th. Which is
nothing
weird.
worse than your 3rd round pick in fantasy batting 7th on the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was really eye opening.
But those guys are really close. Carroll's plus 360, Walker's plus 410. Some dark horses now. Senga's in 3rd at plus 700. I think
my dark horse is Outman.
Okay.
You get crazy odds.
We'll get there. He's plus 1,500. So
and he's going to play every day.
He's going to play most days for sure against righties. I don't know about lefties too. Senga's the issue where we both said already, like innings. We don't know how many innings he's going to pitch. Plus 700, decent value. Might be worth sprinkling, but I mean, I don't see a world where Senga would win it over these two guys we just previously.
No, but I definitely like those 30-year-olds in the Rookie of the Year vote.
Yeah,
so that's another. I would sprinkle.
Scrolling down here, Garrett Mitchell plus 1,500, same odds as Outman.
Is Garrett Mitchell a guy?
He was like a decent prospect. He's got a lot of speed. Francisco Alvarez is plus 2,000. I don't think he'll play enough. Ezekiel Tovar, your guy, plus 2,500. That could be something.
He's gonna play every day.
He's gonna play every day if he really capitalizes on Coors Field. Brett Beatty plus 5,000 if he gets up soon. I'm just looking here, but
just things you could throw money on. Rookie of the Year is always interesting because guys just emerge. Guys
get hurt. Things really can change quickly. I'm going to take Jordan Walker. You're going to take Corbin Carroll?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have some similarities, some differences here, but overall, I feel like we're on a good page here. I feel like we're in a good spot with these awards. Anything else you want to talk about here?
Yeah, speaking of Rookie of the Year, Alex Call just hit a leadoff home run for the Nationals. So if anyone's got Alex Call in the Rookie of the Year voting, good for them.
I don't think he has that eligibility anymore.
I don't even know who he is, so I assume he's a rookie.
You wanted runs in that Coors Field game, though.
Yeah, Alex M. Call, 129 career at-bats. He might still be a rookie. So
that's probably just before his eligibility, so that works.
Sprinkle that. 47 games last year in the show.
Before we close out here, I know, Chris, you want to talk about the new rules, which, of course, ban the shift, pitch clock. I think overall, so far, it's been a success, I would say. There's been some hiccups along the way that I think they have to work on, but overall, I think I've kind of liked the product so far.
Yeah, I loved it. It's been a ton of action. There's a lot of stolen bases that kind of came back. It's quick. I know people are complaining about, it's too quick. I want to sit there and watch games for 3 hours. Well, guess what? You're still watching some games for 3 hours. The Yankee game today was 3 hours. Games are still 3 hours. My whole thing is if it's a 1-0 game, why does that have to be 3 hours? If a 1-0 game could be 2 hours, why do I care if it's an extra hour?
That's a good point.
Nothing's happening. I want action. I want guys stealing. I want hits. With no shift, there's more diving plays. Mm-hmm. There's more stealing. There's more action. There's more thinking. This guy's going to go steal second base. You got to be careful about that. You got to do that. It's just better.
It really hasn't felt that rush to me either. Where I have a little bit of I know people are saying it's distracting anxiety with the clock ticking down. I do have an issue with at-bats ending, like a strikeout on a violation per se.
No, but I mean, they'll get used to it. Give it 2 weeks and they're going to get used to it. And I don't know. You know what annoys me? The guys out of the bullpen. These guys out of the bullpen look like they've never pitched. It's because these guys used to take, I don't know how we used to let this happen. These guys would take 2 minutes in between pitches.
Yeah.
Coming out of the bullpen.
No, you're right. And I think one thing that I know some players have talked about where maybe you turn it off in the 9th inning.
So. Yeah, no. You got to just let it ride, man. You got to get used to it. You got to adapt.
All right.
These closers used to take forever.
I know, but I also think maybe some tweaking where you have to be looking at the guy at 7-7. There's some odd parts of the rule that I think could be worked on. I'm sure they will be. But overall, I think it is a win. Like you said, it's been a lot more contact, it seems like. I think the balls might be juiced again, which, I mean, I don't have anything to back that up with, but a lot of home runs around the league, a lot of runs being scored. The BABIPs are way up, but it's also, there's a lot of differences right now. We're also a weekend. So there's a lot. It's really hard to kind of give a real judgment, but so far, I've enjoyed it. Like you said, there's action. I'm doing less flipping around channels. A lot of flipping around channels.
For sure, yeah. And you know it's good because you got to put your phone away. If you don't put your phone away, you're missing the game, which is awesome. Because when you're watching the game, you shouldn't be on your phone. And I know some people are like, oh, I like that. Like, no, I think we got used to being able to go to the refrigerator,
it being
pitch,
background noise and.
No, it's not like that anymore. What other sport do you watch as background noise?
That's a good point. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to build the game. They're trying to make people more excited, make people want to watch it.
And it's honestly working. I think the biggest misconception is people are always like, oh, well, people who didn't watch baseball are going to watch that because it's 2.5 hours. That's not the thing. It's not the game time. It's the action.
It's the action.
Action. There's more action. There's more things happening.
And I will ask you, might be a little bit skewed right now because they lost. It was a pretty boring game. You went to a game this week. You went to the Yankee game. People are saying...
going to the game?
People are saying it's not as good going to the game. Like, it's a different experience.
It's amazing. It's
okay.
It's literally the best thing. I remember going to Yankee games and games taking forever. Watching Jordan Montgomery just walk around the mound, do this. Your back sitting there sweating on the seat. And it was miserable. Yeah. I went to a few games with you that were just miserable.
Yeah.
The Yankee game I went to, it was bad. I mean, they lost. They played horrible. But it was just... You didn't even look. I didn't even look at the pitch clock once, actually.
Okay.
Like, I was just watching the game.
Where were you sitting?
Paying attention. I was just sitting where I normally sit.
Bleachers?
The third deck. No, third deck, like first base side.
Okay.
Third base side. And you're just watching the game, and no, it's not... People just like to complain. They're like, oh, well, when I like to go to the game, I like to be there for... No.
I mean, you have traditionalists that don't want change, which I do get to a degree, but I mean, we're evolving. Things are different. I mean, those are... I pushed back on the DH in the National League. I was one of them. I think it's amazing now. It's
great. You know what else I push back on that I like now? The extra inning rule. I wouldn't like it in the playoffs. I would definitely like it more if we played to like the 12th inning and then we did it. But I don't want it anymore.
I think the 12th inning would be a good idea. I'm indifferent. It doesn't bother me, but I also don't love it. I have a hard time when...
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, I kind of like it.
It always feels cheap. It feels like a cheap way to like end the game. But it's how it works, and I accept it. That's the whole thing. It's about accepting it and moving on and not harping on things that just because you want it differently. It's none of these things are bad enough to make me stop watching or stop caring. No. Like these are important things. Like I said, they're trying, which... I know people say like they're accommodating the people who aren't really fans, which probably is true to a degree. But
but not the pitch clock though. The pitch clock in the summer is going to be money. Being at a game when you're just like action.
Yes, but the point is like if you're a real fan, you're going to watch no matter what.
Yeah, but I'm a real fan. And I would watch some games and hate it. Like there was definitely some Yankee games where I was like, it would be like going off 4 hours. I'm like, man, I don't even care if they win, bro. Like, this is just like this is torture. Games were just like taking forever. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the score, I'm like, it's 3-2. Why is this game taking forever? And I also like the stolen base too. It's just a different aspect. Like today, like I was listening to the Yankee game on the radio coming home from work. Yankees are down 1 in the 9th. Judge walks with 2 outs, no one on. Steals second.
Yeah.
The tying runs in scoring position immediately. Back in the day, I mean, Judge did used to steal, but I mean, it's not.
That is the other part of the excitement factor where when you eliminate the shift here, you're making guys be more athletic, more diving plays. More
diving plays. Catchers got to throw.
Catchers have to throw. More guys are running around.
Interesting, too, is they were saying
it's action.
It went from framing being the most popular, throwing is going to become the most important thing.
That was the whole thing why the Braves traded so much for Sean Murphy, because he has like the best arm. He's a really good fielder. Everyone's kind of like, why they do that? People were saying because of the new changes, which it makes sense when you look at it like that. I mean,
teams are going to get run all over. Like that's going to be a killer in the playoffs. Like it's a different game.
Yeah, no, for sure. So overall, I think you're like 2 thumbs up. I'm like 1 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up, yeah.
I'm happy, but I want some things tweaked for sure. But overall, it's been a win so far through a week. We'll keep checking in with this, and probably next week we'll think about it again. Before we close out here, we're about a week into the season now, coming at you right now on April 7th. Any early overreactions, any feels that you're just like, I did not expect, we're a week in, but anything like stand out to you right now?
Honestly, it just sounds like a hater, but like how bad some of these teams are. Like the bottom, like the A's, Tigers, Nationals, and Rockies are terrible. I know.
Mhm.
I think I got on this last episode, but these teams are horrible.
Yeah,
And
no.
I think that kind of sticks out to me. Like these teams are really bad.
Of course, we were saying we both watched so many games throughout the day, so many games, and some of these teams, how are they going to win 50 games?
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
How are they going to win 40 games? How are they going to win 50 games? I think that's a real concern for a lot of teams. It's fun. A few bad teams started off hot. Pirates 5-2. We like that a lot. McCutcheon kind of not a farewell tour, he says. But I mean, yeah, you said Oakland's 2-5. I mean, Kansas City's 2-6. Just look around. It's a lot. It's ugly. A lot of teams are not looking pretty. We talked about Boston ad nauseum already. Boston's not in that class. That's not fair.
They're not in that class. I'm saying the 4 teams. I'm saying those 4 teams are the worst teams.
The thing is, like the Rockies are still going to win their like handful of games at Coors, so it doesn't really matter because that's like fake baseball.
Yeah.
But on the road, they might win like 10 games this year.
Yeah, they really might. And they like, oh man, at least the Royals have people. So I'm not putting them in that category. At least the Royals have Major League Baseball players.
I mean, they have a few.
No, the other teams don't have any.
I mean, they have like Bobby Witt and Vinny Pasquantino and Salvi. That's kind of.
I like MJ Melendez.
All right, he's young.
They have a few players.
Okay.
Name some on the other teams. You can't.
I can't Oakland. Oakland's got no one.
Oakland has no.
I mean, Colorado has some guys. Colorado has Chris Bryant, C.J. Cron, Ryan McMahon.
Colorado has guys. Detroit has no one.
Yeah, Detroit, you're holding out hope for Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson to do something. Javi's terrible. Miguel Cabrera should have retired, but he's in his farewell tour
Jonathan
now.
Scope is playing first base.
I was surprised to see that yesterday. I was watching that Tigers Red Sox game. They're playing a lot of veterans on a team that's really bad with no farm system. It's not. They're not a good spot at all, and their pitching's not great.
That team
either.
is a joke. An abomination.
They're problematic for sure. They're probably,
who runs them? Who
it was Alavila. They blamed him. They fired him. They blamed him for like their shortcomings. I forgot. There was a whole like story there. I forgot what happened there. It's someone else now. Didn't the owner passed away? Didn't he? And then so
please, Detroit, whoever's doing this, get rid of him. You got to fire him. Get him out of here.
The guy who gave Javi Baez 7 years.
Get rid of him immediately.
Yeah, it's not pretty. That's a good like early overreaction. I think that's fair. I mean, we're going to talk about your Tampa Bay Rays being 7-0.
No, I can't because they played those teams. Like you couldn't have handpicked a better first 9 games than those.
Yeah,
like that's.
I think I'm just jumping back and forth here. Your early overreaction being so many bad teams really kind of paves the way for betting because you parlay two of these bad teams to lose, it usually comes out to plus 100. You usually can get positive money. Of course, some days they're going to win.
Yeah, they're going to win their 50, but
the favorites usually minus like 220, 230. You parlay 2 and you're going to get
that's
like plus
interesting.
100.
I didn't even think about
It's something to think about.
Maybe I'll refill my account and do that because these are terrible.
I think we'll look into that. We'll definitely pick on the A's a lot this season and the Tigers for that matter. But my early overreaction, again, I'm a Met fan. Maybe I'm pessimistic, but I think they're not the team people thought they were. I think going into this year, people thought it was going to be a dogfight, Mets and Braves. I think, again, it's so early, but the Braves are just head and shoulders better than them, outclassing them. I think this might be a Braves clinch first week of September situation. Mets are going to make the playoffs. I don't feel like they're going to miss out on the playoffs, but I think there's just such a gap in talent between the Mets and Braves. It's crazy.
Well, I guess in a kind of a way last year, the Mets did kind of play above their heads and the Braves played kind of below their heads for most of the year until the end.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that is coming. Maybe that is something now, but
I think everything went right for the Mets last year. They won 101 games. I mean, they had injuries, but
yeah,
Lindor had an amazing year, which he's a great player, but Pete had an amazing year. These great players all had their best years.
Yeah, and the Braves' talent is just unmatched.
And the Braves' talent is crazy. I mean,
but yeah, the Mets had
Nimmo had an awesome year. Everyone had a great year for the Mets last year. Canada was really good. Marquette's not that good. He was really, really good for them. I'm trying to think. Eduardo Escobar had a great second half, but he's not.
And they didn't get better. They kind of ran it back.
Yeah,
well, and they don't have Diaz.
That's the biggest issue there. I mean, Diaz, obviously, he was the best closer in baseball. He's out for the year. That's a huge blow. Which the guys have been okay in the back end so far. Robertson, Otto, Rayleigh, but
But even if they are good, one other thing that people don't think about, like Otto could be good and be like, oh well, he was a good closer, but he would have been pitching in other spots.
3 innings, 3 outs that shouldn't. I mean, Diaz was locked down. He blew 2 saves last year. He was like 38 for 40, and I mean, he was phenomenal. Again, another guy who had a ridiculous contract. Not contract year. It was contract year, but a ridiculous year for the team. And yeah, like I said, I don't. It's hard because I'm a Met fan, but I just don't really see it.
I mean, you're very pessimistic, but
Like, you know what I'm saying though?
I mean, the Braves.
You're agreeing with me.
I'm agreeing with you because the Braves are really good.
That's why I'm there.
The Braves are really good.
I think the Mets win 90 games. I think the Braves win 100.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, yeah, I think the Mets will win 95.
All right, I hope you're right.
But I don't like what the Mets did with putting a lot of stake into two 40-year-old pitchers. I was big on that when it happened. I really didn't like that.
They're in the interesting boat right now where they're trying, which I applaud them for this. They're trying to contend while they're building up their team. Because their team, when Cohen came in, and Billy Epler came in, they weren't really there yet. They're trying to do this Dodgers model where they build up a farm system. They spend a lot of money on these guys. So they spent a lot of money on short-term deals with the two arms that are in their 40s. And they don't really give it that many big deals with the exception of re-signing Nimmo this past offseason, where I kind of like it because they are building up a farm. They do have like 5 or 6 like real like top 100 prospects now, which is something that the Mets haven't had in my like lifetime of being a fan, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you don't know how they're going to pan out. You don't know if these guys are going to
prospects are suspects.
But like Beatty looks awesome, Alvarez looks awesome, Mauricio looks great, Vientos shows really good signs. They have guys younger than that, which it's really exciting. But I think in the short term, it's definitely concerning. And if Max and JV are healthy for a playoff series, could win the World Series. If they're not, you're going to throw McGill and Peterson, and you're going to lose in the first round. So it's.
But I just think with Max last year, it was just like I feel like that was kind of telling. I was like, oh man, like this is exactly.
It was consecutive years. The Dodgers, he fell apart, and the Mets, he fell apart.
Gas. Yeah. Like it was just kind of like to a T. It was like this is exactly kind of what you expect.
And he had a great regular season too, which at the end he
ran out of gas. Like he could still pitch, but
it was the Braves series too. It was back to back. He had because the Mets went into Atlanta, they had to win one of the 3 games, win the division.
And he got and you know what? They really don't have the pitching depth where they could say, "All right, Max, you're sitting this start out." Like,
no, it wasn't an option.
They don't have that right now, and that's the problem with Senga too. We can see him getting tired early.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to turn this into a Mets little episode here. You know what we're going to end with right now? The 12 playoff teams. Your 6 American League playoff teams, 6 National League. You go first with American League. I'll go first with National League.
All right, so I'm going to go Yankees, Astros, Guardians we talked about. Yankees, Astros, Guardians. Mm-hmm. Blue Jays, Rays. And then, the last spot.
This is a tough one.
The last spot.
I hope you don't take my team.
I know who you're going, but I'm going to say the Mariners get in.
All right, Mariners get in.
Is that the exact same playoffs as last year? Yeah, it's the exact same playoffs as last year.
Okay. All right, yeah, no, it's kind of hard to imagine them not getting in. All right, I mean.
I was going to say the Twins. Because they get to play the Central more.
We'll do.
It's a balanced schedule.
We'll do Yankee. I mean, I'm probably going to say the same thing. All right, so Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, Astros, Guardians. They're like the 5 we feel good about. Yeah. And it's that last spot. You gave it to Seattle. I mean, I'm going to go Anaheim.
Yeah, you got to go Anaheim.
I'll go Anaheim here, just because I really want it to happen. I'm going to try to will it into existence here. We talked about it. I think they're all in here. I don't think they're going to try to trade Ohtani. They kind of have to win here.
They have to. Imagine they have Mike Trout and they traded Ohtani like that.
I mean, it's going to be one of them, right? Seattle or Anaheim, probably. I mean, Minnesota's got a chance, I guess, but it's probably
I would say one of those.
One of those two,
and maybe it's it's bad out there.
All right, National League. I will go Mets, Braves, Cardinals, Brewers, Dodgers, Padres.
Okay, so I'm going to start the West. Padres, Dodgers, Cardinals. So I got 3. And then I got...
It's really Phillies or Brewers.
It's Phillies or Brewers. I'm going to say the Phillies, Mets, Braves. And do I have the exact same playoffs as last year in the NL too?
All right, you're sticking with it. We're
running the 12 teams back.
And the Astros beat the Phillies?
Yeah, the Astros beat the Phillies, yeah. So that's my...
All right, anything else to touch on here, Chris?
No, I mean... Just the fact that I just think it's the same exact thing as last year. It's eye-opening to me.
I hope there's some parity. I hope there's some difference. I hope we're both wrong, honestly. I hope there's some differences.
Yeah, but I'm sure we will be. I
hope it's not the Metsies, but we're not talking about that anymore.
That's the Yankees don't make it. We'll
come back here next week. I want to make this like a weekly thing. I feel like we're both motivated and excited to do this again, Chris. So we'll come back in a week. We'll talk about what's going on in baseball then, and hopefully some fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, hopefully we'll talk more about the new rules. Maybe your juice balls theory will get a little more legs. I actually heard that they're saying it's because climate change, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually kind of makes sense. It's kind of warm out here, but
yeah, it's been weird.
We'll get to that next week.
All right, so thanks so much for watching, and come back next week.